Old Man Sarge here. I'm at my friend Chris's house. Acquaintance. Guy.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Guy I know. Anyway, I've got a special treat for you today. I've known Chris for quite a while, and he's an incredible painter. And he has revealed his house that's falling down. No. He's revealed his armies to me, and that he's been painting for 10 years. Now, Chris is a phenomenal painter. He's painted models for consignment. He's painted armies and actually sold them to people. He's done professional painting for people all over the country, and actually for some people in different parts of the world as well. And today he's revealed to me his 40,000. So his Warhammer, or I'm not sorry, it's a 40K, right?
Yeah.
So it's 40K armies. Now this means that he's got 20,000 on one side and 20,000 on another, point wise. And I gotta look at them, and they're just phenomenal how many pieces there are. So in just a couple seconds, I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and then we're going to go over and we're going to look at the first force, and then we'll look at the second. And keep in mind that these two armies are actually going to fight in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to hopefully, if he invites me back, I'll do the battle report on that one, and we'll try to post this so that the whole world can enjoy the time. I guess it took you 10 years to put this together?
I've been working on these armies for a total of 10 years. I've been painting for going on 26 years now. And yeah, I got the bug to do this, call it my 40K project, where we're going to play 40,000 points total over 2 days of a Warhammer 40K game on 3 game tables that I've painted all the boards for, all the scenery for, and every single model for.
And you started this project 10 years ago.
10 years ago. I'd sold
So
my Tyranid army I had at the time, and decided to start a new one, and decided to go big with it. And then I got an idea for a marine color scheme that I started and piecemealed that over the years. The Nids have been kind of a constant army I've been using for a while now, though. And the Marines, I started growing them, and then got the idea I wanted to have not just a Space Marine army, but an Imperial fighting force. And so I added Imperial Guard as time went on. I added some Titans. I added the Knights when they came out. I added some Adeptus Mechanicus when they came out. And so when we play the battle, you'll actually see what it looks like when the Imperium goes to war a little more instead of just a Space Marine army.
All right. Well, you know, this has been, what, a couple minutes now that you've just seen my face and me talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now, and I'm going to show you this army. And Chris will talk a little bit about first the Tyranids, if that's all right, Chris.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on and talk about the Imperials. And if you're getting bored, you won't be in a couple seconds when I show you the army. So just a moment, and you'll see the Tyranids. This is what 20,000 points of Tyranids can look like. So I'm just gonna kind of scan around a little bit so you can see the army. Take it all in.
If you want to be technical, it's 20,117 points.
20,000. Sorry, 20,117 points of Tyranids, all painted up.
The corner hill on the far right there, and there's a bunch of termagants and some spore mines there. Those are not in the list. Those are solely there for the termagants to be able to spawn units, and the spore mines are ammunition for the biobores to use in the game as well. So that's not included in the point cost.
Wow. All right, so I'm just going to go and show you what the Imperials are going to be seeing in a couple weeks. They're going to be seeing this charging at them, this horde of absolute craziness.
I don't have my list in front of me, but there's something like 30 Tyranid warriors, around 80 Gene Stealers, around 80 Hormagaunts, well over 100 Termagants, 3 Turvagons, a lot of big bugs, 10 Carnifexes, 10 Zoanthropes, 4 Hive Tyrant variants.
So do you want to go over this?
Yeah, we can
All right.
look at an area of the table and we'll talk about...
You just tell me what you want to talk about, and I'll
the,
try to be a good cameraman for you.
You see the Carnifex is there. There's 10 of them sitting right there.
Gotcha.
And I don't know why you would ever need 10 Carnifexes, but I have them, and they're grouped into broods, and they'll be on the table. And then next to them are the Hive Tyrants, right in front of the first of the 2 Hierophant Biotitans. So we have a little bit of Synapse there, plus a grouping of 10 Zoanthropes right next to them. And you can see like the Tyrants have guards in front of them. There's a whole mass of Tyranid warriors in front of there. As we get over into the massive Forge world, we have 3 of each Barbed Hierodules and Scythe Hierodules. We have Venomthropes, a bunch of the other new Gribblies that came out from Games Workshop recently. I'm going to probably butcher the name of this, but Democron is how we've been pronouncing it, is back there with the Trigons and the Mawlok, plus 2 of the new drop pods, the Tronocytes, which was hilarious because last night we were going over the list of everything we had to make sure all the models were accounted for, and we got to Tronocyte and no one knew what it was because we just referred to them as Tyranid drop pods. So we had to like really pause and figure out what Tronocytes, what are those? Oh yeah, these guys. But you can see the other Biotitans over there. We have our Air Force all together with the Harridan, the Harpy, the Hive Crone, and a whole swarm of gargoyles at their feet, with 3 Shrikes leading them. On the back table ridge, off on the left here, we have the 3 Termagants we talked about. We have 3 Forge World Malanthropes. We have 6 Hive Guard, and then some more Termagants chilling with them. And then the swarm is all along the front of the table. We have, different broods of Termagants, different broods of Hormagaunts. We got Ripper Swarms, the Gene Stealers. There's like 4 Brood Lords mixed in there from all walks of the game, all different evolutions of the model. From the old Finecast one, a conversion one I made, the Space Hulk one, the new one that came in the campaign box. And if we can swing all the way to the back corner, kind of hidden back there behind all the Forge World stuff, we have some of our artillery as well. There's a Tronifex back there, there's an Exocrine back there, a brood of 3 Biovores, including one of the old ones. We have some Meiotic Spores from Forge World. We have some Spore Mines that'll be deep striking in as well. Got a couple of those for that. And there's Pyrovores hanging out back there too. They'll probably be coming in. They'll be dropping into the battlefield because that's what makes them really scary. And then in front of the one Biotitan here too, kind of blends in with everything else. But we have a Tyranid Aegis defense line that a friend of mine, Heavy Bolter Bob, built, and he built the piece, cast it up. I painted them up. And the Tyranids will have a little tiny bit of cover running across the battlefield from those Aegis, although with all the big guns the Imperium has, they're going to need every little bit of scrap of cover they can get. But I think that's about everything on the board for these guys.
Well, we'll take one last wide angle shot, I guess, of your army. 20,000 points of Tyranids. And in the next week or 2, they will be facing off against 20,000 points of Imperials. So, should we go take a look at the Imperials now?
Yeah, let's take a look at them.
Let's see what they're going to be facing. Alright, so I'm back again with the Imperial side now. The thing that struck me is this table, which, before we get in and talk about the army, Chris, do you mind talking a little bit about this table?
Yeah, so one of the guys who builds scenery for our local game store, Heroic Realms, he helped me build this table. It took us about 3 or 4 months to put it all together. I painted all of it. He helped with all the construction of it. He did a lot of resin casting. And then we just built this thing and we mapped it out, laid it out. It's this crazy industrial city that we're building. Almost none of the buildings are on it right now other than the actual fortifications that the Marines have purchased and are in their list. But the board itself has LEDs running through it. There's lots of cool little Easter eggs hidden on the board as well that I don't know if we'll get a chance to see during these battles. But it's just kind of a really neat board and idea we had. It got to come to life with the right people and the right skills to make it all happen. And then to add to that, every single Imperial model is on our custom resin base that matches the table. And so this is my dream army. This is an army I've been working on for 10 years. The Marines were the first part of it, but we'll get to them. We'll save them for last. But they were the ones I started first and finished last. And then in the middle of all that, I did all the other components of the Imperial Army. And so, like starting on the left of the board, we have the Imperial Guard. Because what massive battle against Tyranids is complete without Imperial Guard being there to be the front line and to do what Imperial Guard do best, which is die in large numbers while throwing tons of ordnance and artillery at the enemy. And so we have a nice guard army here with some super heavy tanks, including the Forge World Praetor assault launcher in the back there, great missile launcher tank. We got a veteran squad with their Valkyrie in the back. We have our row of artillery tanks coming up there with a Manicore in the back, some Wyverns, a Death Strike, a couple of Hydras for air defense, Hellhound and a Bane Wolf both. We got a bunch of Lehman Russ variants. In the little custom bastion up here in the front, we have the command for the guard army, safely away from all the soldiers. We have 2 platoons of infantry here as well, with heavy weapon teams and heavy weapons mixed in with the squads as well. And all together, I think it's around 3,200 points a guard are going to be making an appearance on the table. And then behind the guard, kind of hidden back there, is House Thrakos, which is my own knight household. I have had an absolute love of Imperial Knights ever since the old Titan Legions box set came out for Epic. And I was absolutely thrilled when Games Workshop released Knight models. And then they just keep upping the game, and Forge World, of course, jumps in. And so there's 4 of the Knight models that I have finished and painted, ready for this game right there, all part of my own house. And so they'll be making an appearance on the table. I painted all those guys over the course of about a year, I think, in the midst of this project. And then next to them are the Warhounds. These are the Fire Wasp Legion, which you'll see all over the place with pictures that Games Workshop and Forge World does. It's one of the famous Mars Legions. I love the color scheme, I love the hazard stripes, I love the red, so I went ahead and used that for my Legion. I used to have a Reaver, but I sold it. But Reavers will be making a comeback for my army here soon. If we ever do another big battle report with Imperials, maybe versus Chaos or somebody that can handle Reavers, then I'll get those painted up and ready for that. And then next to them is the Adeptus Mechanicus, the new kids on the block for Warhammer 40k. And they are, I have one of the Knights from Forge World for them as well. And then I have parts of the Cult Mechanicus and also the Scutari on there as well. And then we have our fortifications all down the side of the board here as well that we'll be seeing in the battlefield to put some scenery on the table. There's not going to be a ton of scenery on the table when we play because there's just not going to be a lot of room. The armies take up so much space. But the fortifications will definitely be there. We'll have a few ruins, we'll have a few other pieces on there as well. And then of course we have the Marine Army. The Marine Army is the army that I started when I started this project. I've been working on it for 10 years. I can show you individually the model that I started with to try the color scheme out with.
So show us that model.
So he's right up front here next to the one of the Hyperios launchers.
So is he right behind the missile?
Right behind the missile launcher is the first tactical Marine I ever painted.
With the red on his...
Yeah, the purity seal on the side and some parchment hanging on.
And what's the last one that you painted?
Is the Librarian from the Space Hulk set that's kind of off to the right of him.
Okay.
And that's the last model I painted for this project. Because like I said, I goofed up and I forgot that I painted extra models when we started going through the checklist last night, and I actually didn't need to paint the Librarian. I'd already gone over my point goal, but I finished them anyway and got them out there so we can have the 3 Librarians. So the Marine Army, let's dig in. So we got the vehicles first of all.
Okay.
So we have Storm Raven with 2 Storm Talon escorts. We have a single land speeder. Just because as much as I love Games Workshop, I hate the land speeder kit. They're better now. They've recut the molds, but the old molds used to be really warped, hard to put together. I despise the models because of that. So I only have one. I have 1 Land Raider. Because this army was meant to be a city fight army originally, I wanted the vehicles that made sense for a city fight army. So I have 3 Vindicators, which are the siege tank. I have a couple of Whirlwinds hanging back in the trench in front of the Titans, as well as a Hunter and the Forge World Whirlwind Scorpius. I have both the Marine Super Heavy tanks, based kind of roughly on the Baneblade chassis, the Glaive and the Fellblade. I have the 2 Sakarans in front of those as well. I love the body design of the Sakaran tanks. And then kind of towards the back there, we have what I have of the first company, which is a demi company. It is 4 Terminator squads and 1 Stern Guard veteran squad. And I am a successor chapter of the Imperial Fist, so we'll be using the Captain Lysander rules for the captain of the first, who is back there as well with a chaplain, and my chapter master, who is hanging back there as well. And he has gold trim rather than the yellow. The yellow is kind of a homage to their parent chapter. And he's also wearing Cataphractii Terminator armor, although for the game we'll just be treating him as normal Terminator armor. And then you can see mixed in here are the Dreadnoughts. There's some Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and then the entire 4th company is brought to battle as well. So we have an entire battle company, 2 Devastator squads, 2 Assault squads, 6 full tactical squads, a command squad, a chaplain, a captain, Dreadnoughts, and vehicles. So because of that, because of taking the battle company in the current rules, it means my transports all became free, which is why I had to add a few points at the last minute when I realized 195 points dropped off my list unexpectedly. But then we also have the Hypernos missile launchers, another Forge Rule kit, that I picked up specifically to get to one of my friends who takes a lot of airplanes, and so having some good anti-air defense was just kind of a good way to jab at him a little bit and get under his skin when we play. And there's a Tech Marine hiding among the vehicles as well, and I think other than that, that's pretty much...
So who's this guy with the big hammer?
That is a Contemptor Dreadnought that I just wanted to do a little custom work with. And so the hammer counts as just a Dreadnought close combat weapon. Rule-wise, there's nothing in there that says it can have a big Thunder Hammer. But the hammer and lightning bolt is my chapter symbol. And so Thunder Hammers appear throughout my army because of that.
He kind of looked like he was a little different than what you'd buy out of a box.
Yeah, he's posed a little bit. And then, on the Marines, if you notice, I have custom-built shoulder pads for all the tactical Marines, all the Assault Marines, all the Devastator Marines. Anybody in power armor has my hammer and lightning bolt that the guy who helped me build this table actually custom-built for me, cast them up, just to give my army a unique look. And like I said, I've been planning this specific game for 4 years now, but I've been working on this project for about 10.
I'm going to get a kind of a different view what the Tyranids might see coming at them, or when they're charging in, what they're going to be looking at possibly.
A lot of guns.
A lot of guns facing their way. And then I'll get one last distant shot. And there you go, folks. 20,000 points of Imperials. Painted and owned by Chris. Also known as...
Lordokaos.
Lordokaos. So, in the next week or two, we should be posting a battle report. If I can figure out how to get everything online. And other people will enjoy your 10 years of hard work, Chris. Thank you very much for sharing your army. Your armies, I should say.
Very welcome.
Okay.